Hi, this is Chronicles, and I'm your host, Simon Rushton. Today we have that model back for those who heard the last podcast yesterday. But let it be known, she's not just a model, a pretty face, a great looking lady. She is also a... I've forgotten the thing.
So I'm a compliance specialist, basically. So I do compliance for investment banking.
Okay. So how did you get into that?
So I studied law, did my first degree in law, and then I came to the end of that and I realised I actually didn't want to be a lawyer, but I did want to work in a corporate setting. So to kind of buy myself some time and also, I guess, pick up a new skill set, or I did a master's in financial regulation and corporate governance, and through that I was exposed to compliance, because I think for a lot of graduates, there are so many jobs in the world, and you as a graduate sometimes you're not aware of how many different jobs there are in the world, and so that master's gave me that exposure. So straight after that I did an internship in compliance for an investment bank, and I'm still there. I still work there, same team, kind of worked my way up, and that's how I got into it.
So how many years have you been in the business?
So it'll be 4 years in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to your method of how you got up into the business, did you go to any like Oxford or Cambridge?
No, so I did my undergrad at Sussex, and then I did my master's at Warwick.
Warwick?
Yeah.
Okay. I know those places. I can't say I knew they had a uni, but I know them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's a day like for you in this compliance? Or explain the role of what you do.
It's actually funny because it's such an unusual time with COVID that to describe my day now versus to describe my day pre-COVID is very different.
Right, well, give us both.
So COVID, so since lockdown we've been working from home since the end of March, so that's how many months? A few months. So obviously, going from working in an office in the city of London to working from a laptop at home and not seeing anyone is a really big change. So that's the biggest difference between the two. But pre-COVID, so we, you get to the office, work from maybe, let's say you get to the office, you're contracted to get to the office for 9, probably get there earlier if you've got a busier day, later if you haven't. So kind of get to the office, it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of collaboration in compliance. So you're working with different teams. You're working with maybe the risk team, front office, capital markets team. Like, there's a lot of interaction, which is something I really like about the job. It's also one of those, people say you're like the police officer of the bank, which I don't think is necessarily accurate, but it comes from, at the end of the day, as a compliance officer, what you're doing is making sure people are informed enough to know what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, and also you're controlling, so you're looking at what people are doing and kind of flagging if they're doing something that they shouldn't be.
Just to jump in there, when you say people, are you referring to the bank staff?
Yeah, it's staff. It's staff.
Okay, staff.
So there is a little bit of, looking at what the customer's doing, but for the most part, that's the responsibility of the front office, so the person who's dealing with the client.
So are you employed by the government?
No.
Or by the bank?
By the bank.
Self-regulate yourself?
Exactly, yeah.
So when the government people come along, you can answer?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
I think I've carried one of your
one of my kind.
One of your tribe before. Yeah, he explained.
Exactly. So we're basically internally just making sure we're following regulations so that we won't get in trouble.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And you like your job?
I do like it. I really like, as I said, I studied law. I really like how it's a mix of the qualitative and the quantitative. So some days you will be looking at regulations, you'll be interpreting literal laws, and trying to figure out what impact they'll have on your company. But other days you're kind of looking at numbers and doing a lot with Excel sheets, and I like that
change.
Yeah, I like that variety. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I do really like it, and I'm really lucky. I work with some really great people.
What kind of laws impact, or late laws that have been brought in that impact your company that you have to really kind of delve into?
So it's very specific stuff. So very specific regulations. So market abuse regulation, for example, when I first joined the bank, is what we were looking at. So that's a good example of one. Or another one that we look at quite a bit is GDPR, which you've probably heard of, which is basically is the regulation that protects your data. So
the general data protection.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we look at kind of, I do a lot of reviewing of contracts to make sure that they've got the correct GDPR terms in them. So that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Would you recommend your industry to other people? Would you say to other people, yeah, it's a good industry to be in?
I would. I would recommend compliance if you're someone who is interested in doing something corporate, but also doing something of moral value. I'd recommend the industry if you like kind of, fast-paced stuff. You like, if you're really interested in a corporate role, banking is probably a good way to go for sure. But I wouldn't recommend it to someone who likes, a lot of flexibility, or who is very creative, or someone who...
You've got to be a numbers person, really.
Not necessarily a numbers person. Like, there are roles like in compliance and legal that don't really require you to be a numbers person necessarily, but they are quite rigid. It's like, if you were to compare to the tech industry, which is really flexible, really modern and current in terms of the way that they work, their ways of working. So things like, you come into the office maybe once a week and you work the rest of the time from home. The technology that they use, stuff like that. Banking is not the most cutting edge of industries when it comes to the ways that they work. So if you're someone who needs a lot of freedom and who likes a lot of flexibility in the way that they work, the industry is not for you. You'll feel really stifled. Yeah.
That's good. Would you... So my mind just got blank there. Sorry, my mind just got totally
That's all right.
blank. Do you find as a black woman and a model that do your company know you do modelling?
So a few people know, but I don't really, I would just kind of take the day off if I have a shoot or whatever. I like to keep the two separate, but people in my immediate team know, yeah.
And how do they take to it? Are they happy? Are they jealous?
No,
is there a lot of women in your industry?
There are, yeah. My team is like, it's all women. Which,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And our department is very diverse as well in terms of gender diversity. There's a lot of women in the wider department as well, yeah.
Okay, well, women are always good with numbers. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Yeah, shopping bargains and all of that.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay then. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yet again. Guys, I hope you like that podcast episode. Sorry for my mind going blank at the end. These things happen. Keep in mind that I am driving and getting our passengers to various places in London safely. Do not forget to listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investing Stories. You can like, share and subscribe. Feel free to leave a voice memo or message about whether you like this episode, if you want to hear more and all that, or even if you didn't like it. I'm more than ears to hear, happy to hear. Anyway, stay safe and keep on moving.